Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're just joining this channel, my name is Praise Victor and I'm so glad you're here. Now, I'm just going to be diving right into the details for today's video, right? Because today's video is just like a chat session. It's nothing really spectacular. I'm just going to be sharing like out of my personal experience about what happened to me I think 2 weeks ago now, part of like my relationship, my walk with God, something relating to that. But basically I'm just sharing with you. I'm not really offering any advice or anything. So first off, I just want to say that God is very intentional. He's very, very intentional about you. He sees, he hears, he knows every thought that crosses through your mind, even if it's just for like a fraction of a second. He knows, like, God is aware of literally everything. And I think I came to this realization. This was like, I've always known that God is like very intentional about we humans. Myself, in my relationship with God, I know God is very intentional about me, okay? But I just did not know how much he is. I didn't know how much he is intentional about me till like last week, when this particular thing I'm about to share with you happened, right? And so I think it was at night, and I was preparing to study the Bible. And so this particular night I was preparing to study the word, and obviously before you study the word you have to pray, right? Because you need to ask for understanding. And so I was praying before the study time, and this particular night I was so tired. I don't know what I did during the day, but I know that when it was time for me to study that night, I was so tired. I was stressed out. And so I was still like using my energy to carry myself and pray. I was aware of my thoughts, right? And like I said, I was tired. And so there was this thought that came into my head that night as I began to pray, right? And the thought was like, so this is how I'm going to wake up again tomorrow morning and, start praying, feeling so tired, like, Lord, what's the point of all of this? Literally, that was the question I asked. And it was just like I didn't even entertain the thought. The thought did not remain in my mind for a long time. It didn't even stay up to like 5 seconds. Sincerely, it did not stay that long. It was just like a flicker of thought, and then I continued my prayers, right? I continued my prayers. I studied, and then after my study that night, I think I was about to go eat, and then I picked up my phone. I went on Instagram. I saw that Ebele the Servant was having an IG live session. And if you do not know who Ebele the Servant is, I think I would just say she's a Christian. She's a powerful woman of God. I don't know how else to describe her, because I recently just started following her on Instagram, right? I used to see her tweets on X, and she posts like Christian content, that kind of thing. I joined her IG live, and she was, at first, I joined in between the conversation, so I didn't really get what they were talking about until I had God honors your mundane obedience. And I froze, because I was like, okay, let me calm down to hear what she's saying. And then she went on to say that it doesn't matter even if we do not feel the presence of God when we pray. She said that it's not just when you feel the presence of God that he's there. Whenever you get up to pray, whenever you get up to study, even when you'd rather just like sit back, relax, sleep, like you're tired, you'd rather not do it, but then you still like choose God over convenience, that God sees it and God honors it. And I was like, oh wow, God, are you trying to talk to me? Because of, the thought that came in my head. And I was like, God, I see what you're doing. And so I just really want to say that God does not waste your obedience. God does not waste moments. He's not a waster. God is not a waster. He sees your efforts sincerely. You know, how you are consistent with your prayer, how you are consistent with your study, how you are consistent, like participating in, church activities, your fasting, your spiritual activities, the personal ones, the corporate ones with church. God sees everything and he honors it. And here's the thing now, you might not see the immediate effects or the immediate result of you praying, you fasting, you studying the word. You might not see it now, but God is working out something in you. Every time you choose to engage yourself in spiritual activities, you are nurturing that seed that God has planted in you, and you are causing it to grow, because growth happens inward first before it reflects for everybody to see outward. But we are so obsessed with what we can see, with what everybody can see, so everybody can know that, oh yes, this is a Christian, oh yes, this person is spiritual, oh yes, this person can do this person can do that. We are so obsessed with that we lose the focus on the real work that God is doing within us. When a person comes into the faith, when a person begins a relationship with God, the first thing that God starts to work on is your heart. God starts to work on your heart first before anything else. Before he sends you on a mission, before he gives you an assignment, or before he says that, okay, it's go time, you can do this. He works on your heart first. The heart condition of man naturally outside of God is messed up. And so God needs to work on your heart first. And so even during all that process of you praying consistently, you studying consistently, you fasting consistently, you going for church activities, showing up in church, you giving your time, your resources, all of these things is actually for your growth. It's not to appease God too. You don't do spiritual activities to appease God. Okay, it's not to appease God so you can meet your needs or do anything that you're requiring at that point in time. While there's a place of God rewarding you, okay, there is that place. God is not wicked, God is not evil, he's a faithful and loving Father. But then there's just that place of you engaging in this activity so you can grow. The Lord desires for you to grow, but he's not going to force you to grow. You're going to have to be the one to decide for yourself, and you're going to have to be the one to choose for yourself. God is not going to force you. You're not a robot. He created a human being with feelings, with emotions, and so you're going to have to decide to engage in these activities for your growth, to grow in the knowledge of God, to grow in his will. All right, as you engage in this, even though you're not seeing the results immediately, trust that he's working something out in you. Because when you come back in a year time or 2 years time, trust me, you're gonna be hard to recognize, and you might not even see it, but then people around you will be like, wow, something has changed about you. You're not the same, you're not acting the same way. That there's just something that has really changed about you, and they don't know it's God. They don't know it's those times that you have sacrificed being consistent in his presence. So I just want to encourage you, each time you choose God over convenience, even when you don't feel like he sees it, he does. He sees it and he honors it. So yes, God honors your obedience, even in the little things, the things that you count as mundane, the things that you count as insignificant. He sees it and he honors it. So you should definitely stay obedient to him. Another thing happened. I was recording a video for my YouTube channel. I think I had finished recording, okay? And then the next day after recording, I started doubting myself, and I was like, the things I said in the video, was it going to be helpful? Did I know what I said? Hope I was not just rambling. Am I sure I'm going to post that video? All of these questions, rooted from self-doubt, started popping up in my head. And so I picked up my phone and then I went on Substack, and the first note I saw, the person posted something that was relating to what I had said in the video I recorded the other day, the day before. I laughed about it, I went to Instagram again. I went to Instagram, and then the first post that showed up on my feed was like from an influencer, and the influencer said almost word for word what I said, like a section of what I said in the video that I recorded the previous day. And I was like, okay, God, you're trying to convince me that all the questions I was asking, if what I said was important, you are actually answering me now in like the funniest ways. And I'm like, okay, God, I see that you are aware of my thoughts. I see that you are actually indeed following my train of thoughts, and I appreciate it. The fact that you are trying to reassure me, not a matter of convincing, but a matter of reassurance that indeed you have called me to this, and indeed you are with me. You are right there with me in that moment, and you see me, and you are right here encouraging me, holding my hand, telling me that, baby girl, I got you. And so I just became very aware that God is indeed is aware of every thought, every concern, every fear that I have, even before I voice them out. So it's the same for you too. Okay, we're both humans. So as it is for me, it's the same for you. God is intentional about you. He knows your every thought, even the ones that you think are so fleeting, like the ones you count as so insignificant. Nothing is hidden from God. He sees every single thing. Okay, and he's working out everything for your good. So I will just tell you to remain obedient in whatever it is that the Lord has called you to do, and in who he has called you to be. Really, sometimes it might feel like, what's the point, like what's the benefit? Just remain obedient. Like, it might not make sense to you now, just keep doing it, because obedience to God is not glamorous. I don't know if there's any believer that has polished it or portrayed it to look like obedience to God is glamorous. It's beautiful. It's exciting. I mean, sometimes it's exciting that at least, even though it doesn't make sense, you're obeying your maker, right? But then, truth be told, obedience to God is not glamorous. Most times it's quiet, it's repetitive, it's tiring, but it's never wasted. You know, Isaiah 1:19 says, if you be willing and obedient, you will eat the good things of the land. So please, this is like me begging you. It's your choice, but then choose to stay obedient. Choose to remain obedient, okay? We've come to the end of today's video, and if you enjoyed it, give it a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. I would see you in the next video.